Who are some sweet Texans?
So I do have a few on my wish list.
Let's do it. Yeah, put them out there.
Maybe they'll reach out after they see this.
So it's Miss Tina, Beyonce's mother.
Oh, MG.
H-Town.
She's on social media, very active social media user. So
Okay.
I'm hoping maybe I can reach out to her somehow. And
So wait, you're talking Beyonce's mom over Beyonce?
I mean,
I
Beyonce
knew,
doesn't take many interviews.
correct. I knew
okay.
I was never going to be able to get access.
If you happen to get Beyonce, just let me know, bro. Just let me know.
She's not going to do her podcast.
What's up, guys? We're back. It's the Best of Midland, Texas podcast where we interview small business owners, personalities, entrepreneurs. If that's your thing, then hey, please subscribe. Let's break this algorithm. Let's become super YouTube famous like Mr. Beast or whoever older people like. I'm your host, Ryan Schuchuk. This is my wife, Tara Avery. And Tara, let everybody know who we've got on the podcast today.
So today we have J.M. Smith, who is a local West Texas writer and photographer. He was born and raised here in Midland and is currently working on his second book, 254, A People's History of Texas, which we're going to talk about today.
Nice. Hey, thanks for coming on
Thank you for
the show
having
today.
me.
Cool hat, by the way.
Thank you. It's my grandfather's gas station. He used to be out on Florida Street.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's cool. Old Weird Heralds.
Yep. Harold's my grandfather.
I love it.
That's a sweet hat. Can anybody get those, or that's an exclusive?
Vintage.
Yeah, he shut his gas station down about 20 years ago. These have just been sitting in the top of the closet, and I got 3 of them actually.
Okay. Hey, let's just get right into it. Let's talk about your new book. Let's talk about your previous book. We've got it right here. Flatland Native, a true one-point perspective view of West Texas. Tell us a little bit about your book.
So it just kind of started. I graduated college at the end of 2017, moved back to Midland 2018.
So
Where
it was
did you go to college?
So I went to Texas A&M.
Okay.
Where'd you study at A&M?
So I was studying history and wanted to be a teacher. Moved back to Midland and worked at the Museum of the Southwest for a little bit.
Oh, great.
Was trying to get back into history, but just kind of things didn't work out and bounced around for a little bit looking for different jobs. Was living in an Airstream trailer on my grandmother's property.
That's cool.
Man, all right. I'm jealous already.
And so living in an Airstream, it got a little claustrophobic at times.
Yeah.
Sure. So I would just get in my truck and drive around, and in that process just would take pictures of stuff I thought looked cool or stuff that reminded me of home, basically. Yeah. And was just sharing them on Instagram to share with my friends from college who all that everybody knows about Midland is oil and nothing else.
Yeah.
But it's a real vibrant community that's so much deeper than just the oil field and
Absolutely.
that type
Agreed,
of thing.
yeah.
Just kind of started taking Instagram pictures and did that for about 2 years. And then was working at the country club, Midland Country Club, and lost my job during the pandemic. Was lucky enough that I got hired on for the Census Bureau in the summer of 2020.
During the pandemic?
During the pandemic.
Okay.
So I was going door to door.
People couldn't escape you now.
Right. So I was driving all over Midland counties just seeing stuff, and I got an Instagram ad for a book that looked pretty similar to my Instagram page.
Okay.
Well, if they can sell this for $200, I can make my own little thing and sell it for $65 and call it good.
Yeah.
And
You didn't have like a publisher or anything. This was self-published?
Self-published. I paid for everything up front. It was probably about 2-3 months kind of gathering the photographs for the past 2 years and then taking a few more ones to kind of fill out what I thought about Midland. And then it took about another month or 2 to write everything because I only wrote about 4 to 5 pages per chapter. There's only 6 chapters in there. So it's 20, 30 pages of reading. Nothing too deep. And so that took me about 3 months and got it all together and published, paid for it at the end of 2020, sold my first 50 in 3 days.
Wow.
It was mostly family and friends, but I was in the newspaper. When I was in the newspaper, I was lucky enough David Arrington even got one. So it kind of blew up locally, and I got another 50 and sold out of those in a couple weeks, and then have been kind of holding on to the last 50 over the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And then just sold out probably about 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Wow. That's so cool.
Can you do reprint or anything? Or
I can,
Okay.
and that was part of the reason I wanted to come on here. Is I don't have the funds currently to pay for a whole new 50, but if I could spread the word, get some people, kind of get some pre-order, so to speak, I could get a whole new batch and kind of get it out there and let more people know about this book and my celebration of Midland.
About how many pages are in there?
306 pages. I think it's about 260 pictures.
Wow.
Most of them are from Midland. There's maybe 15 at the back that are elsewhere in Texas.
I think West Texas is unique in that if you were just to like pop in from somewhere else in the United States or other parts of Texas, you'd be like, really?
Yeah.
Like it's brown, it's flat, but like the beauty in it is different than what you see in other places.
Are you a writer first, or are you a photographer? Oh, how do you describe yourself?
So I describe myself as a writer.
Okay.
And I started getting into pictures because nobody really buys words anymore. So my thought was that if I add some pictures to it, make some adult picture books, maybe people will be interested in maybe reading my words.
PG adult picture books.
That's right.
Yes.
your typical like coffee table book, sort of, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you're not a professional photographer. So what kind of camera did you use for all these photos?
So for this book, I strictly used an iPhone 8.
An iPhone 8?
An iPhone 8. That's all that I had.
But they're so good.
That's you made a whole book on iPhone 8 photos. Pretty good. Listen, if you have an iPhone, you're essentially a photographer. That's how I look at it.
You have the ability to be a photographer.
Yeah, you still have to obviously have, composition
Skill.
and flat out talent, but that's pretty impressive, man. Wow, iPhone 8. Okay, we're at a 14 Pro right now, so
Speak for yourself.
can we make I might make a book this weekend, guys.
It's just going to be dog photos.
It's just going to be like
And you editing?
Yeah, just me editing this podcast. Those are the ones you were posting on Instagram.
Yeah,
they're like
yeah.
Instagram photos are square. Are these photos square?
No, they're not.
Okay, so you took like the original.
I took the
landscapes.
originals, the original landscapes, and just kind of contrast, saturation, bumped them up a little bit.
You just edited them on the iPhone too, right?
I actually got a Lightroom for that, so I had professional editing software, but very unprofessional pictures.
You got to start somewhere, dude. I mean, that's
nowadays, like a lot of videographers and professional photographers are strictly using their iPhones, and I think
they're making full-length movies on iPhones.
Yeah,
pretty sweet. It would have been kind of funny though if the pages in the book were just a screenshot of the Instagram
with the captions.
with the caption and the
how many likes you got.
Yeah, and one comment. All right, let's talk about your new book you're working on. It's 254 : I make sure to put that in there. A People's History of Texas. It's a coffee table book with photographs of Texas county courthouses combined with a history of the state and interviews with its citizens. So, what is the significance of 254? Well, this is not a quiz.
Oh.
This is
Okay. As Texans, no, I think I know. I'm probably wrong. Go ahead.
I'll let you say.
I was going to say that's how many counties there are in the state of Texas.
That is how many counties there are in Texas.
See, I paid attention in Texas.
But
history.
I'll be honest, that's not the whole reason behind the title.
Okay.
yeah. See, it's probably like a weird ludicrous area code.
So I've got a friend who's from Killeen. He grew up on Fort Hood. His dad was in the military.
Okay.
And every day on Twitter, at 2:54 p.m. or 2:54 a.m. he would tweet 254.
That's it. That's the whole tweet.
Just the whole tweet. Was
That's the tweet.
Just 2:54.
Was that his entire Twitter account? It was
he would tweet normally at other times,
Okay.
but every day at that specific time he would show homage to his home area code.
Your friend might have been a bot, dude.
Gotcha. So that's the Killeen area code.
Because I didn't realize it at first that it was the same amount of counties that are in Texas, but after a few years of not dealing with it, but seeing that the numbers, that string of numbers just kind of came to be associated with home for me. After I finished Flatland Native, I had finished my work with the census and was still unemployed. So I was kind of thinking about what I was going to do next. Well, people love Texas. People love county courthouses.
Yeah.
And I looked, and there hadn't been a county courthouse book since 2007, 2008. It was originally just going to be a photo book about of courthouses with no words. I didn't want to talking at all. And then as I kind of got into the process, I kind of began to look at history and how there's a lot of holes in the history that we've been taught.
Yeah.
So in celebrating the state, I also kind of wanted to fill in those holes and kind of give a broader history of Texas than just the Alamo and kind of
love it.
Basic things we've been taught.
Yeah.
I've never even been to the Alamo, so
You haven't?
no, I've only seen it on Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, bless.
52 times, no big deal.
You saw it 52 times?
It's a great movie. Check it out. I get it now. There's 254 county courthouses, one per county.
One per county.
I literally didn't know that there's only one courthouse in every county. That's every state.
Well, there are multiple counties or multiple courthouses in each county, but the specific county courthouse. So I'm not taking pictures of federal courthouses or state courthouses.
Okay.
Just county courthouses.
Just the county.
I wish I could remember what Midland's county courthouse looked like before we had this beautiful park.
It was an old like Art Deco 1930s. It was really cool.
They shouldn't have torn that down. But I love our park.
Yeah, you didn't hear that from me. It's not only courthouses, you said. There's also history in this and interviews. Can you talk about some of the interviews you've had?
So I've had a bunch of interesting interviews.
Just like rando people or what?
I've interviewed a few friends, but the majority of them are just strangers I meet along the way.
Okay.
I'll stop in a county, take a picture of its courthouse, kind of walk around the square, see if I can get anybody, talk to them. And
How do you what do you say when you're approaching them?
So usually I have the camera around my neck, which is a real good icebreaker.
Your iPhone 8?
So for this project, I have upgraded
Nice.
to it. Upgraded is a relative word. It's my grandmother's. It's a Canon AE1 program. It's a camera that predates me by about 10 to 15 years.
That's a film camera, dude.
Freaking love that.
I'm shooting a hand-me-down film camera for my grandmother.
You're shooting film? Oh my gosh. Good for you, man.
I love film so much. Like in high school, I took photojournalism or something, but like developing film, it's fun.
You're keeping it old school.
I bet the pictures are going to be so cool.
I literally haven't shot film since high school. You have to be dead on with these photos.
Yes, it's been a stressful process. I never touched a camera prior to an actual camera other than my iPhone prior to this. Never really wanted to. Like I said, I'm hopefully trying to be a writer, not a photographer. But started it was last 4th of July in 2021. Left Houston, drove to Ozona, Sanderson, stopped the night in Marfa, and then next day went to El Paso, back to Midland, did 35 counties over the course of 5 days.
Wow.
Sorry, I cut you off regarding the interviews. So you were talking about some of the interviews, how you approach people.
Like I said, I have the camera around my neck, walk up to them. Hey, I'm writing a book about Texas. Can I ask you a few questions real quick? I've asked everybody. I've got over 60 interviews at this point, but I ask everybody the same 3 questions.
Okay.
What makes this place home for you? What makes Texas special, good or bad? And what's a good food dish from this area that this area specializes in?
I love it.
Nice.
I can't wait to.
Do you record audio too or no?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm recording audio just so I can get all their words right whenever I go back and end up writing this. Get their words correct.
Any like famous Texans so far?
So I've been lucky enough that I work for a printer copier company in Houston, and our office had a contract with Beto O'Rourke's campaign office. So I was working on his copier one day and was on my way out. As I opened the door and was leaving, I hoped to see him. And I hear somebody coming around the corner. I turn around and it was Beto O'Rourke. So walked up to him and didn't have a camera at this time. I was just working.
Yeah.
But asked him if I could interview him. So he was gracious enough to stand there in the hallway with me, and I got 1 minute and 9 seconds. And
Nice.
It was really great. And
Very cool.
What was his recommendation on food, or do you want to keep it for the book?
So he told me about Lucy's Diner in El Paso. He was very specific about what to get. The manchaca plate from Lucy's Diner, but only the Lucy's Diner near the high school.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, other Lucy's Diner, but go to the one by the high school. Shout out to Lucy's Diner, manchaca plate. Any other famous Texans or Texans of note?
Yeah. So I was interviewed Gary P. Nunn, who's a legendary singer-songwriter. He wrote the theme song for Austin, the ACL Live, those performances,
cool.
Home with the Armadillo. He wrote that song. I went to one of his concerts and was lucky enough to talk to him beforehand. And then I've also met an internationally famous bootmaker. His name's Lee Miller, Texas Traditions down in Austin. He learned underneath Charlie Dunn.
Wow.
Charlie Dunn Jerry Jeff Walker wrote a song about Charlie Dunn. So Lee's not technically a Texan, unfortunately. He moved here from Vermont, but he's been here since, I think, 76 or 77, and has been making handmade high-quality boots and got people from Saudi Arabia and all over the place. He makes some of the best boots in the world.
I mean, I feel like he's an honorary Texan.
50 years, yeah, you're in it.
And making cowboy boots,
Yeah.
definitely an honorary Texan.
Yeah.
May I make a suggestion of somebody to reach out to? Tony Romo.
No. I would say Willie Nelson.
Texans love Tony Romo. That's the one thing I know.
He was so rude to Jessica Simpson when they broke up.
Tony Romo and Jessica Simpson were a thing?
Yeah. Like everyone blamed her for his terrible career in football.
Who are some sweet Texans?
So I do have a few on my wish list.
Let's do it. Yep, put them out there.
Maybe they'll reach out after they see this.
So it's Miss Tina, Beyonce's mother.
Oh, MG.
H-Town.
She's on social media, very active social media user. So
Okay.
I'm hoping maybe I can reach out to her somehow. And then Matthew McConaughey, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
That I don't really need any explanation on that one. And
So wait, you're talking Beyonce's mom over Beyonce?
I mean, Beyonce doesn't take many interviews.
Correct. I knew I was never going to be able to get access.
If you happen to get Beyonce, just let me know, bro. Just let me know.
She's not going to do her podcast.
All right. Who else do we got? We've got Paul Wall. You could get.
DJ Screw.
No, he's
is he?
RIP.
Oh, sorry.
So I have reached out to Willie Nelson. They told me he was not taking interviews at this time.
Not even 3 questions.
What? Not even by email.
I tried through email, and they just said he wasn't doing anything. And then I've also reached out to Laura Bush and haven't heard back from them. They did receive my email. I did get confirmation of receipt.
Nice.
But that was about 18 months ago, and I haven't heard anything since then.
Is Elon an honorary Texan yet?
No.
Speaking of Elon, this is a weird segue, but
What?
speaking of Elon Musk, if you're traveling to 254 counties in Texas, that's a lot of counties, by the way, a lot of film, a lot of gas, right? So you must own a Tesla.
He has a Cybertruck.
I wish I had a fuel-efficient vehicle, but I do not. I've got a 2010 Toyota Tundra. It gets about 15 miles to the gallon on the highway.
What's happening?
Yeah, I used to have a Lincoln Navigator. I got, I think, 17.
Let's roll through the how good this book's going to be by how many challenges you're placing on yourself. 1, film camera. 2, gas guzzling truck.
At least gas prices.
No help at all. I've done everything so far by myself.
No film crew, no nothing.
No nothing. No film crew. And it's kind of funny because I want to get these audio recordings, these interviews that I have with people out there somehow, but don't really know the best medium. When I started this project, I did really see it as kind of a multimedia thing. Been a year. Like I said, I've been working on this for a year and a half.
How many counties have you hit so far?
So far, I've hit about exactly 160.
Wow.
So the only 2 places I lack are the Panhandle, kind of north of La Mesa, and then Central Texas, so between San Angelo and Waco.
May I make another suggestion?
Sure.
Not about Tony Romo. This feels like a documentary. I mean, this feels like YouTube
Yeah,
versus Instagram. Sorry, Instagram, you're terrible.
truly.
I mean, what are your thoughts on going all the way back to 160 counties and filming this digitally on a digital camera?
Yeah.
With video. This seems like an amazing YouTube series.
I would love that, but I'm kind of stuck within the financial realities that I've got right now. After I have the money, after selling the book, maybe put that into another format.
Okay.
And if I am successful enough, then maybe I will be able to not have to work a 9-to-5 job and be able to focus on this writing and travel to all those places again and do a more in-depth.
Yeah.
And so I have an interview, like I said, with Beto O'Rourke, but I've also, one of my favorite interviews personally was a guy I met in Marshall, Texas. I stopped, just parked somewhere, walked over to the courthouse, took some pictures, walked back to my truck. Didn't realize it, but I was parked in front of a bail bonds place. And so there was a guy sitting on the porch. Just walked up to him, asked him if I could ask him a few questions. He's the only person who's asked me what he was going to get out of it.
As in what? Monetarily?
I'm not really sure.
Like maybe exposure.
Was it Doc the Bounty Hunter?
Yes.
I knew it.
But I said I can get you a meal. And so he answered my questions. I talked to him for probably 10 minutes. And it was just really insightful about East Texas.
Yeah.
In a way that I'm from West Texas. I went to College Station. That's about as far east as College Station in Houston. But that's not the East Texas piney woods.
Yeah.
That's a whole different ecosystem. So he gave me a really great perspective on that. And so I'm not just trying to get highfalutin fancy people. I'm trying to talk to everyday Texans.
You know, with the locals.
Right.
And I bet being a bail bondsman, he's seen all sorts.
Oh, he was not the bail bondsman.
Oh, he was just hanging out there.
He was,
He was getting bail.
yeah.
Even better.
He was checking in with the bail bondsman.
Got you. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Well, I can't wait to hear from that guy. This is another self-published book that you're working on. Or do you have a publisher?
So I'm in preliminary talks with a publisher. I haven't been approved yet. That's what this Kickstarter I've got's kind of about. Trying to raise money to complete my proposal. get the raw material necessary so that I can take a completed proposal to many different publishers. So far, I've only been in contact with one.
Okay.
If I'm not accepted by this one publisher, I want to have a completed proposal that's up to the standards of kind of the publishing industry, so that as opposed to just putting out 150 copies, I can kind of get this to more people.
Kickstarter helps you get a proper proposal, get the book with a publisher, get it published. Obviously, thousands of copies, things like that. You could then take a portion of that revenue and create, a full-length feature or documentary or
docuseries.
Yeah.
This might sound pretentious, but I want to be the Texas historian. That's
not pretentious.
Because history, at least in my experience of it, history is not boring. It's the lived experience of just people just like you and me. Maybe they lived 150 years ago and their lived experience is a little bit different, but it's just about people, is all history is. And I think when we think about history, we think about dates and battles and chronological stuff, but there's much more to history than that. And I think if I could kind of share the history of people, the history of Texas's people, I would love to do that.
I think that's really great.
Have you tried to submit anything to Texas Monthly?
I have been in contact with a writer at Texas Monthly. His name's John Spong. He's the unofficial historian of Willie Nelson.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
He's kind of inspired me to tell the story of Texas in a different way.
Yeah.
Do you have the contact information of the Texas Monthly guy who's in charge of eating tacos? I'd love to talk to that guy, too. He's got a sweet job.
Wow.
We're keeping that in.
How much money are you looking to raise and by what date?
So I'm looking to raise $4,000.
Okay.
That's about $1,000 for fuel cost, about $1,200 for film and developing motel rooms, of course. And then the rest of it is just to cover the fees for Kickstarter. I'm only asking for $3,200.
That's not bad.
That's all I need to kind of finish this project is $3,200. And then the remaining $800 is for Kickstarter fees.
Wow.
Kickstarter's getting 20%? Kickstarter. What's happening?
Do better.
$4,000, including Kickstarter's 20% fee. Oof. Fuel, film, motel rooms.
Lodging.
And you need to eat.
But I'm not looking to have some fancy trip. I'll stop McDonald's, eat $5 meals every time. I've done this for a year and a half on whatever excess money I have.
Yeah.
And I've kind of reached a point where I'm not going to be able to complete it without some outside help.
Yeah.
Is it a specific deadline that you have to hit? I'm not talking about for Kickstarter, but for the publishing in itself.
No, I don't.
It's just Kickstarter. You can't have it go on for a year type of thing.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
the Kickstarter is only 60 days. It's going to actually end on my 29th birthday.
January 27th is the end date of the Kickstarter.
Yes.
If you're out there listening and you want J.M. Smith to complete this book, then we'll link the Kickstarter in our description below. What type of awards can people get from pledging to your Kickstarter?
So for $25, you can get a PDF copy of one chapter from the upcoming book. For $75, you could get an interview.
Nice.
I won't guarantee that it'll go in the final book, but you can have the opportunity to be interviewed, or you can nominate someone to be interviewed. So for $170, you can get a metal print of one of my pictures. You can just contact me, and we can go through that process.
Cool.
Of any of my photographs that I've taken so far. And then for $250, you can get one of the first 15 copies of the book whenever it does come out.
Nice.
All right, listen.
Is that all of them?
That's
Okay.
all of them.
Okay, and for
$4,000.
Well, for $4,000, you would probably get your own page in the book.
Nice. I'll just throw it out there. For $40,000, we're doing this YouTube documentary. You know what I mean? And you can be a part of it. We'll put your name on it. I said we.
Assuming he hires us.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll link all your Kickstarter. We'll link all your social media, and let's get this book published. It sounds super cool. Just a thought. You have 3 of those hats. I'm sure somebody wants to buy one for $4,000. Let's do this.
I definitely think I could get rid of one of these for $4,000. There's only I have 3 of them, and I think there's only 5 in existence. So
there you go. Okay, 'cause that hat's sweet. I'm not even gonna lie. There's not even an area code on it because it's like
And this is back when the area code was 915. It wasn't even 432 at the time.
All right.
I remember when it changed and everybody was like, what? Now El Paso's 915.
They have an Apple store. So get with it, Midland.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Lucy's Diner.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. And listen, we wish you the best of luck. We might have to make a pledge because all those things sound really cool. You know, I don't have $4,000 for that hat, so we'll figure something out.
But if somebody wants to buy it for Ryan,
Tony Romo, are you listening? We'll see you on the next one. Bye. Adios.